I'm absolutely furious right now, but I think I'm still having a good time. Developed by Subset Games and released in 2012, holy shit, has it really been that long? FTL Faster Than Light is a self-described spaceship simulation roguelike. Whatever that means. I can only guess that this was the descriptor used before the term roguelite was coined, because it's much heavier on the like, but there are definitely some light elements to it. While it may not be the first game of its type, I'd go so far as to say it's probably the most well-known of the genre. But even then, the age, and the fact that roguelikes are more popular than ever, I fear that this game might become a little overlooked by the community as a whole. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Space exploration roguelikes are something that I find myself gravitated towards. And I've put a lot of time into a lot of different ones. But FTL, that's the one that started it all for me. And I've never been able to stop playing it in all the years that I've owned it. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is really similar to Strange Adventures in Infinite Space. And now I know you're probably wondering, what the fuck is that? I wasn't thinking that at all. I've never heard of that. All in due time. In FTL, you're a Federation ship carrying information that is vital to the Federation's existence as they are attacked from within by rebels. Most games and media tend to make the rebels the good guys. Not this one. Honestly, based as fuck. It's never really outright said what the rebels are rebelling against, but the backstory in this game is more set dressing than anything else. Sometimes when you get into conflict with rebel ships, they'll give vague hints as to what they stand for, but it's ultimately just fluff. It's good fluff, but the story isn't what you're coming here for. Along with humans, there's a multitude of different alien species that you'll be coming across. They're all really varied and have their own cultures and personalities, as well as benefits for gameplay. Mantis are often hostile and will definitely board your ship if you come across some angry ones in space, but they're excellent combatants, so if you have some on your crew, they're the best to throw against boarders. Zoltan are made of nanomachines and aren't very good against onboard enemies, but they fix broken systems with the speed of a methed out savant. Rock people are big dumb rocks, closely related to the crystal people, who are big dumb shiny rocks. In total, there are 9 different alien races you can pick up or encounter on your journey, though some of them are only available if you're playing with additional content turned on. While there are faster than light drives and different alien races, the sci-fi here is still pretty grounded. Picture Star Trek, but slightly less advanced and a lot less noble bright. Bad shit can happen, and the game is painfully hard, but you still get the feeling you're helping as you progress from system to system. Unless you're the type to raid civilian outposts, in which case I can see why the rebels might have a problem with Federation practices. Speaking of, each system will have a randomly selected modifier that affects the kind of encounters you'll be experiencing in them. So there's tons of variety, and no 2 runs will ever be quite the same. Some systems are friendly and are controlled by aliens that are sympathetic to the Federation's cause. Some are home to pirates, and some are uncharted nebulas that you should avoid like it's the fucking plague. Seriously, these are the worst sectors possible. And at the end of it all, the Rebel Fleet's flagship is patiently waiting for you to arrive, totally not slaughtering thousands while you have a joyful little jaunt through space. If I'm being honest, when talking about sound, I usually play this game with something on in the background, and I usually have the music turned off. It's kind of the perfect game for that, but I turned it back up for this video, and I'd forgotten how good the soundtrack is. For the most part, it stays a simple chiptune, but it's charming and unique, and surprisingly atmospheric. The battle music are some of the standout tracks for the soundtrack, as they serve to get you very engrossed into the action that's going on. But I never turn off the overall sound, and some of these noises are completely ingrained into my psyche. I think a small spray of shit enters my underwear every time I hear the breach sound, and anytime I hear the miss sound when one of my missiles whiff, I am filled with absolute pathologic rage. But nothing is more satisfying than hearing the rebel ship that just ambushed you blow into 1,000 pieces. Yes, I know there's no sound in space. No, I do not care. There's lots of beeps and boops, but they're all pretty satisfying, and it honestly fits for the setting. You are on a futuristic spaceship, you know. Okay, so now that we've got the world established, let's talk about the game itself. This is your ship. There are many like it, but they all got blown the fuck up, so this one's yours. Before you start any run, you'll have the option to choose different ship models and customize their layouts. provided you've met the conditions to unlock them all. I really like how those unlocks are treated in FTL. To get higher level ships, you need to win a run that will unlock the next available ship, and beating the game with that unlocks the next. And new layouts are available by unlocking achievements unique to each ship. This is honestly one of the few games I've played that have implemented achievements in any way other than, you did it! Yay! After you choose your ship and name it if you so please, you'll be thrown into your first system. Here you have your first chance to interact with the ship and its systems, and while it looks relatively simple, there's more here to manage than you might think. Each of your crew members are assigned to a specific system room. Weapons, shields, your engine, and your pilot cockpit are the main ones you're going to be concerned with, but you can add others to your ship if you're able to acquire them on your journey, including a drone management room and a teleporter to board enemies. Also, don't let your oxygen system get damaged too bad. You kinda need that one. They're all important, okay? The crew members will gradually level up their skills in the systems they're working on, and will provide benefits the higher level they gain. Every system has an energy capacity that provides further benefits if you slot a reactor level into them. System capacity and reactor levels are separate, and you don't necessarily have to have a high enough reactor level to accommodate every upgrade you make to your systems. Because of this, a massive part of managing your ship will be learning how to best reroute power to systems depending on the situation you find yourself in. In the heat of combat, you probably don't want to pull your crew away from their stations if they get a boo-boo, so shutting down the power to the medbay frees up a reactor level to slot into one of the systems that would be more geared towards surviving getting your hull breached and your whole ship depressurizing. If things really come down to dire straits, you can always turn off the life support completely. More points in the engine means a higher chance to avoid attacks. Every weapon you've placed on your ship will also need its own predetermined amount of energy, so more points here means more big booms and pew-pews you can fire at your enemies. And more points and shields gives you more shields. What the fuck did you think it was gonna do? These upgrades can be made at any time outside of encounters and cost an increasing amount of scrap for every level of each system. Scrap is the currency used in this apparent hell world where trash is money, and it can be obtained from encounters, destroying enemies, and selling the other shit you've collected and no longer want. As such, scrap is also used at shops to purchase things like missiles for any rocket launchers you have taped to your hull, drones, and fuel. You definitely want to make sure the fuel reserves are abundant. Running out is often a death sentence. But to get to these shops and different encounters, you'll be plotting a course through each star system by jumping to different FTL beacons. Each point that you jump to is where you'll be encountering the random events present in the game that serve to successfully maintain that roguelike feel that we've grown accustomed to. But what sets this game apart from other roguelikes is how unbelievably infuriating it can be. There's been many a time that I've been doing really well. Good amounts of resources, good weapons, and a highly powered up ship, only to come across a hostile pirate with 3 layers of shields and a massive crew that repair damaged systems before you can charge up your weapons to fire again. So I guess now would be a good time to talk about how combat works. Weapons come in many different shapes and sizes and will require different amounts of energy to power them depending on how strong they are. Once powered, the weapon will start charging and a target can be selected on the opposing ship. Your targets are going to be any of the systems rooms on the other ship with the intent to damage that system so that the enemy can't utilize it in combat. Shields and weapons are the most common target, as bringing them down will drastically improve your odds of success. Don't forget though, there's a whole crew on the other ship and they'll be frantically conducting repairs to bring anything you take down back online. If it's going too fast, targeting their oxygen systems is always a good distraction. Can't hold a wrench if you're unable to breathe. But it doesn't make a difference if you can't penetrate their shields long enough to do so, unless you have a weapon that can penetrate shields. If you don't, you should find one. Combat on its surface is simple, but the further you get into the game, the more you realize it's very complex and requires a lot of strategic thinking, both in terms of the combat itself and what upgrades you'll be wanting to take as you progress. Attacks on enemy ships can cause hull breaches, which will gradually reduce the oxygen in the room, can cause fires, and outright kill opposing crew members. But in turn, that can all be done to your ship as well. Part of combat is being able to manage your crew to conduct repairs and put out fires, as every level of damage to a system reduces its energy capacity. Fires and borders can be remedied by the vacuum of space, but doing this does cause a hazard for your own crew should they need to pass through before the fires are out. All of this isn't even getting into the environmental hazards that you can jump into without realizing. Remember, stay away from the fucking nebulas if you know what's good for you. Once either ship's hull reaches 0, it's game over for either them or you. But other than that, the random events encountered can lead to boons or completely fuck you over. It's the name of the game, and boy shucks howdy do I love it. Now, if all of that doesn't convince you, let me tell you why you should play this game, because it's really good. The variety is really strong, and there's a ton of stuff to find and see. There are hidden hidden quests to unlock, and every new ship offers a new way to play. And even amongst that, there's different layouts that you can unlock that come with different systems and room placements, not to mention the visual variety. And even then, once you feel like you've mastered it, turning on the advanced content will add completely new things to every run that you will have never seen playing without it. This game has kept me coming back for years, and I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've beaten it. But it doesn't matter. It's a great game to sink a couple hours of playtime into. It's a great pick anytime you're staring at your Steam library with no idea what you want to play. Before long, you'll have a ton of hours in it. Now, for as long as this game has been around, there's surprisingly not that many issues I have with it. There are some bugs I've noticed here or there, like a crew member being stationed in a room but not actually working in the room, but they're so rare and so inconsequential that there's really nothing to talk about in the way of bugs. The game is programmed really well, and I applaud it for that. Some of the random events can be utter bullshit that just immediately fucks you, but that's to be expected in a roguelike. Getting randomly boarded by 4 enemies that cut through your crew like they have a personal vendetta against them absolutely sucks, but you are able to persevere through it if you're able to manage your crew properly. Random means random. For all the bad shit that can happen, I don't feel like it's poorly balanced to favor negative outcomes, like some other roguelikes are. Bad shit happens, good shit happens. Get over it, pussy. If I really had to come up with an issue I have, it's the fact that you can't sell supplies at stores. A lot of times, you won't need missiles or drones, but have an actual horde of it cluttering up the cargo hold. And that's just tough shit unless you find a random event where they can be sold or put to use. But any store that you go to, you won't be able to sell them, even if you're really hurting for scrap or running very low on fuel. But at the same time, that might make it too damn easy if you can just sell it and have an unlimited supply of scrap. If you really want to do that, or really take issue with the amount of bullshit a random event can hit you with, I'm sure there's a mod that fixes or fine-tunes that for you. There's a massive mod library for this game. Regardless of the rage it induces in me, I don't think I'm ever going to stop loving FTL. Now, for the ones of you who have been paying attention, you probably noticed that I mentioned Strange Adventures in Infinite Space earlier in the video, and then proceeded to never bring it up again. I guess that just means you'll have to wait until that video comes out. I think I've got enough of these games to make a series out of this, so stick around. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like, especially if you made it this far, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on what's next. While you're at it, check out one of these videos on screen now for more roguelike videos to tide you over. All that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!